Hello, welcome to Chapter 6, Providing Leisure Services for Diverse Populations. We all live with the objective of being happy. Our lives are all different and yet the same. There are 4 subgroups to consider: ethnic and racial minorities, women, people who live in poverty, and older adults. Can you think of any race and ethnicity issues that might arise in recreation and fitness or sports? Definitions. Race. Find a topic, characteristics like skin color, hair color. Society has been given privileges based on race, and such privileges affect leisure choices or constraints. Ethnicity. A group of people sharing similar culture, including family arrangements, religion, language, and values. Recreation patterns are part of ethnicity. Internal aspects, images, attitudes, and feelings affect this, and also external aspects like observable behaviors. A changing demographic. Caucasians in the 1900s were 87% of the U.S. population. Today they represent less than 75% of the population. Other groups are on the rise, and there are growing groups. Immigration and minority growth accounts for more than 1/3 of growth in 2007. 38 million immigrants lived in the U.S., and most of them were from Latin America. The top sources of immigration are Mexico, Philippines, India, and China, and 12 million immigrants are illegal. Ethnic and racial spatial distribution. African Americans are concentrated in the southern states. We'll see this figure in a minute. The Hispanic states are concentrated in the southern and southwestern states. Native Americans, and then Asian Americans. And let me pull that picture up so that you can see this here. Here are the people indicating exactly one race, and you can see the darkened areas. Here's the Hispanics. Here's the Asian. And here's the Native Americans. The socioeconomic profile. The median household income for Asian Americans is $63,000, mainstream whites $52,000, Hispanics $38,000, African Americans $32,000. Employment patterns differ as well. There are segregations: residential, employment, and in leisure. Leisure participation patterns. Minorities often participate in different activities than whites. When the same, activities are often done in a different way. Examples are picnics, parties, and outdoor use. The possible reasons for differences: unequal access or different preferences and values. Constraints to participation can include language, transportation, financial resources, safety in the natural and built environment, cultural differences, and discrimination in leisure settings. Track a provision of leisure services, including tracking demographics of constituents, periodically surveying the recreation needs, expanding agency services to meet needs, promoting in a culturally appropriate way. Staff demographics mirror constituents, and evaluate staff communication skills. There are gender issues. Socioeconomic profile of women. Women are not a numerical minority. They do have unique motivations and constraints. Their earnings are lower than men's, and women earn 77 cents per $1 earned by a man. And here's women's earnings as percentage of men's earnings. There are also differences in leisure patterns. Women experience fragmented time. Schedule around domestic and family obligations often double up leisure with housework, and multiple role demands also contribute. Sport participation differences between men and women still exist. Differences among women include age, class, and ethnicity. Leisure allows empowerment and disempowerment, and allows conformity as well as role resistance. Constraints on participation include household obligations and family commitments, overall time for leisure, neglect of personal leisure needs, economic constraints, safety and fear of violence, the beauty myth, and gender stereotyping and role expectations. Provision of services for women and girls. Consider positive and negative potential, inclusive, non-threatening, and be supportive. Access to interests beyond societal expectations. Places that offer ownership and choice. Address activity drop-off in teen years. Always consider issues of perceived safety. Consider messages sent by traditionally gender-specific programming. Choice for boys, girls, men, and women. Increase visibility of programs for girls. Staff agency with female role models, and opportunities for leadership and control. Poverty and homeless. The poverty profile. Poverty is based on income thresholds. In 2006, 12.3% of the population was in poverty. Here's the percentage of people in poverty. Constraints on participation include lack of discretionary income, the obvious, the not so obvious, demands of work, limited outdoor resources, physical health, mental health and disability, lack of awareness, intergenerational effect, and discrimination. Provision of services include ongoing needs assessment, make a long-term commitment, provide sufficient resources, reduce fees, appropriately trained staff, help with transportation and equipment, ensure awareness, involve low SES participants in planning and development. Homelessness profile. True rate is higher than estimates. In a given year, 3.5 million people experience homelessness, includes 1.3 million children. These numbers include only those in shelters or those who are easy to find. Other considerations made domestic violence a major cause for women. 16% of homeless have mental illnesses, and 1/4 to 1/2 have addiction disorders. The leisure and homelessness are in shelters. Leisure is a secondary but still important. The benefits could be that they can counteract anxiety, depression, and stress, physical well-being and self-esteem, entertain, occupy free time, alternative to drug use, a sense of normalcy, and maintain connection with the outside community. Provision of services. Most shelter activities are passive. Fostering socialization is critical. Alone time highly valued in shelters. Work to break the monotony of shelter life, and many homeless are invisible. Living in abandoned buildings, living with family or friends, living in the street, and consider ways to meet their needs as well. Aging. Profile of older adults in America. Life expectancy is 47.3 in the 1900s, and now it's 77.8. The population over 65 years of age, see the 1900s, 2006, and then 85 and older is 34 times larger in the 1900s. And in the year 2030, 72 million will be over 65 and expected to represent nearly 20% of the population. Here's figure 6.7, population age 65 and older. You can see how that's increased over time with, I think, how we have increased the quality of our healthcare system. Percentage of population age 65 and older. You can see that makes up a majority of some of the populations in these states. Leisure behavior. Leisure interests tend to be fairly stable over lifespan. Constraints associated with aging can influence leisure patterns. Activity replacement is likely to take place within existing leisure patterns, and leisure can be a significant resource for coping with the constraints of aging. Factors that influence leisure. Biological changes vary significantly from person to person. Sensory loss and physical decline. Changing roles and responsibilities. Leisure focuses on family and social interaction, decline in sport, physical exercise, or outdoor recreation. Married women deal with loss of spouse and frailty, loss of abilities and social networks. The role of leisure is meaningful relationships and maintaining physical, mental, and social competencies. The 21st century senior is breaking stereotypes. They travel more, they learn new skills, they attempt new things, they break social prejudices and expectations such as dating and sport participation. Other provision considerations, don't stereotype. There's a tremendous diversity. People of all ages have common desires. Consider social needs of older people and consider opportunities to contribute and volunteer. Recreation can help change societal beliefs. Recreation can help improve health and well-being of older adults. Future seniors will bring unique needs of their generation, and diversity will grow within this population as the United States grows in diversity. In summary, our population is changing rapidly. Practitioners must stay informed about these changes. Our goal is to embrace diversity and promote ideals of tolerance and inclusion.